Uh, Yeah, good evening, everyone. Hello, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Okay, first of all, I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of DBMCI MDS experts. So, today I got three doubts total overall. Okay, I'll just say the
Hello,
doubts.
everyone.
Yeah, I'll just
Good evening, everyone.
say the doubts. Question number one is, what is anabolic and catabolic terminology? Okay. Is my screen visible to all of you? This is doubt number one. What is anabolic and catabolic terminology? Second is difference between substrate and oxidative level phosphorylation. And third is what is vitamin B4. Okay. So first of all, let's see what is anabolic and catabolic terminology. So I'll just share the whiteboard with you. Fine. So anabolic and catabolic processes. Okay. Something is wrong here. Now, beta, if you talk about anabolic and catabolic processes, you should know what is basically the difference. How do we understand the term? Okay, देखो, anabolism means synthesis of something, right? And catabolism means degradation of something. So if we synthesize something, it is known as a anabolic process. And if we degrade something, it is known as a catabolic process. ठीक है? अब basically always remember one thing, that catabolism and anabolism के लिए TCA cycle is the most appropriate example, isn't it? Because all of you have studied TCA cycle, right? अब TCA cycle, you know, it stands for tricarboxylic acid shuttle, or it is known as Krebs cycle. It occurs in the matrix of mitochondria. Now, how we can say that it is catabolic and anabolic? Now, see, first of all, catabolism, because you know that acetyl coenzyme A, which is produced, it undergoes degradation, giving out two molecules of carbon dioxide here, isn't it? So we are giving out carbon dioxide. That means it is a catabolic process. Got my point? So kata means breakdown. Breakdown किसका हो रहा है? Acetyl coenzyme A का, which has two carbon atoms, and it is dismantled, giving out one carbon dioxide and one more carbon dioxide. Clear? Then if we talk about anabolism, anabolism means synthesis of something. Now what is being synthesized? Always remember that whenever we talk about synthesis, यहाँ पे citric acid बनता है, if you remember, because that is why it is also known as citric acid cycle. Yes or no? Okay. So citric acid is required for the synthesis of fats, which is also known as lipogenesis. Clear? So that is why we always say anabolism means formation of something, catabolism means degradation of something, and TCA cycle is the most appropriate example of this, in which Anabolism is there, as I told you, citric acid, which is required for the synthesis of fats. And catabolism is there because one molecule of carbon dioxide is given out here and one molecule of carbon dioxide is given out here, right? And that is why it is also known as a amphibolic pathway. Got my point? Is it clear to all of you? I think there is something wrong with my pen today. I don't know what is happening. So TCA cycle is known as a amphibolic pathway. Clear हो गया बेटा? You can ask me if there is any problem. You can just write it in the chat box. My question is this: you people ask that what is amphibolic? Yeah, what is anabolism? What is catabolism? I am telling you, anabolism means formation of something. Catabolism means degradation of something. So TCA cycle is the only amphibolic pathway in our body where anabolism is it leads to the formation of fats, and catabolism is it gives out carbon dioxide, and that is what exactly happens here. Got my point? Amphibolic pathway. Then second question was, right? The second question was, what is the difference between oxidative and, can you see the screen beta? What is the second question was, what is the difference between oxidative and substrate level phosphorylation? Substrate level phosphorylation. Isn't it? This was your question, right? So what is the difference between oxidative and substrate level? First, सबसे पहले you should know what do you understand by the term phosphorylation. It's very simple. Phosphorylation means attachment of inorganic phosphate. Attachment of inorganic phosphate. Right? अब क्वेश्चन आता है, what is the difference? What do you mean by the term oxidative? What do you mean by the term substrate level? Now see, it is clear from the word itself. Substrate level का मतलब ही क्या हुआ? That substrate is providing with this inorganic phosphate, isn't it? So if we have to define substrate level, we can say that when inorganic phosphate comes from the substrate. I'll just give you one example, also comes from the substrate. And the most common example of this is 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid, right? 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid forms 3-PGA. Isn't it? 1,3 matlab bis mane there are two phosphate, and 3-PGA mein there is only one phosphate. Where has the first phosphate gone? That first phosphate has been taken over by this ADP to form ATP. So this is what? This is substrate level phosphorylation, when inorganic phosphate comes at the expense of the substrate. Another example I can quote, when PEP is converted into pyruvic acid. Again, you can see PEP, phosphoenol pyruvic acid, right? And pyruvic acid, again, ADP ने क्या किया? ADP will give inorganic phosphate to ATP and phosphate will be given out. Clear? So this is substrate level phosphorylation. Now coming over to oxidative. अब देखो, phosphorylation is attachment of inorganic phosphate. Oxidative means when attachment is at the expense of oxygen. So when oxygen is there and it is attaching inorganic phosphate, we will call it as oxidative phosphorylation. And the example of oxidative phosphorylation is synthesis of ATP. But where? Synthesis of ATP in the mitochondria, in the inner membrane of mitochondria. And that is what exactly happens. Jaise when we study about electron transport chain, you have seen that electron transport chain mein kya hota hai? There is a transport of electrons followed by release of energy at every step. And that energy is given out, it is accepted in the form of substrate. Got my point? So this is the basic difference between oxidative and substrate level phosphorylation. Is it clear? Is it clear to all of you, beta? Oxidative or substrate level phosphorylation में फर्क क्या है? Phosphorylation is simply attachment of inorganic phosphate. अब if this inorganic phosphate is given at the expense of the substrate, उसको हम बोलेंगे substrate level phosphorylation. But if it is taking place in the presence of oxygen, it will be known as oxidative phosphorylation. Right? So this was one more query given asked by one of the student. So I hope it is clear to again all of you. Again, if you have any problem, you can ask me now. Is it clear? Okay. Then if we look at the third question is simply, what is vitamin B4? Now beta, if we talk about vitamin B4, हम लोगों ने पढ़ा है what is B complex. ठीक है, B complex क्या होता है? B complex को हम क्यों B complex बोलते हैं? Because, one second, let me just erase it. Right? Now, next is B complex. Now, if we talk about this, we call it as B complex because B complex consists of B1, B2, B3, B5, अभी तक जो हमने पढ़े हैं B6, which you all also have studied, B7, B9 and B12. ठीक है? These are the B complex vitamins which you people have studied, isn't it? Now B4 is basically nothing but it is adenine. You will find it very rare. It is given very rarely because the main, you can say the main type of B complex vitamins are B1, whose active form is TPP. Okay. B2, whose active form is FAD, flavin adenine dinucleotide or flavin mononucleotide. Right? If we talk about B3, we all know B3 is nothing but niacin. If we talk about B5, B5 is pantothenic acid. If we talk about B6, B6 is pyridoxine. B7 is, can anybody tell me what is the active form of B7? It is biotin. If we talk about B9, B9 is folic acid. And B12 is cyanocobalamin or simply cobalamin. So vitamin B4 is adenine. Got my point? Right? So these were the three queries which were asked by you people. Okay. And if you guys have any problem, you can ask me now also. These vitamin B complex are very, very important. Why they are important? Because B complex में जितने भी vitamins हैं, they serve as coenzymes. And if we talk about TPP, can anybody tell me what are the three important reactions of TPP? Yeah, catalyzed by TPP. This thymine pyrophosphate is required, very, very important, in oxidative decarboxylation. अब देखो how simple it is. Decarboxylation means removal. Carboxylation means carbon dioxide. D mane removal. So removal of carbon dioxide in the presence of oxygen will be TPP. An example of this is very, very important example is PDH, pyruvate dehydrogenase, which is an example of multi-enzyme complex. But this PDH plays a very, very important role in our body, obviously, because we know that PDH catalyzes a link reaction, isn't it? And that link reaction is in which pyruvic acid is converted into acetyl coenzyme A. And TPP is considered to be a very, very important vitamin required for oxidative decarboxylation, means removal of carbon dioxide. Clear? If we talk about B2, FAD and FMN, there are so many reactions in which FMN and FAD are required. Like I'll just say succinate dehydrogenase. Right? If we talk about niacin, always remember niacin is a very important endogenously synthesized vitamin. And you know something, that niacin is synthesized from tryptophan. 60 milligram, ये बहुत important question है. 60 milligram of tryptophan produces 1 milligram of niacin. This is a very important question, asked is the exam so many times. 60 milligrams of tryptophan synthesizes 1 milligram of niacin, and deficiency of niacin gives forms pellagra. Pellagra, जिसमें the most important feature is Cason necklace, right? Then we come over to B4. B4 is adenine, which is actually a type of nucleotide also. But as such, no important function of adenine has been used as a coenzyme, right? Then comes pantothenic acid. Pantothenic acid is associated with the fats. B6 is pyridoxine, which stands for PLP. And can anybody tell me PLP किसके लिए coenzyme use होता है? PLP is the coenzyme for transamination. Very, very important. Transamination. Then B7, biotin. Biotin is required for carboxylation. Again, very important, right? Then folic acid, we know it gives rise to 1-carbon metabolism. And cobalamin plays a very important role in 3 very, very important reactions, right? So this is B complex, the functions as coenzymes. Now, if you guys have any problem related to biochemistry, you can ask me, because this is again a face-to-face class. I mean, like just like face-to-face, right? So if you have any queries related to this, other than this, don't hesitate. You can just ask me, right? Yeah, everything is crystal clear. Yeah, biochemistry is totally clear to all of you. Right? Any problem? So that means I should keep, okay. No problem related to this. Any problem related to biochemistry subject? Any question, any topic which I can take just now? Dekho, this is a very important question. Yes, one more water soluble is vitamin C. Vitamin C plays a very, very important role in a sense that it helps in the synthesis of collagen. Because collagen is how it is synthesized, there is hydroxylation post-translational modification of collagen. So I hope your queries have been resolved. Is it clear to all of you? So shall we wind up this session? You can better just write it in the chat box if you guys have any problem. I am waiting. Because if I can see rightly, these were the only 2 questions which were asked, isn't it? 3 questions rather. One was what is anabolic and catabolic terminology. This I've already explained it to you. Anabolic means synthesis of something. Catabolism means degradation of something. If we talk about metabolism, metabolism is actually catabolism plus anabolism, right? And TCA cycle is a live example of this where anabolism and catabolism both take place, right? And second was difference between substrate level and oxidative level phosphorylation. I told you phosphorylation kya hai beta? Phosphorylation is attachment of inorganic phosphate. If that inorganic phosphate is given by the substrate, it is substrate level. If that is given at the level at the expense of oxygen, it is oxidative phosphorylation. And third query was vitamin B4. The name of vitamin B4 is adenine. Right? Okay, so shall we wind up the class? And otherwise we are connected with the telegram group also, so if you guys again still have any problem, because what I want is because basically what you have to focus in biochemistry is you should be able to memorize the rate limiting enzymes, because if you see the pattern of the questions, mostly the questions have been asked on the rate limiting enzymes, on the rate committed enzymes. So what you have to do is you have to make a chart of that. Okay. And second, what you can do is, second, you can simply say that inborn errors of metabolism, that also you can make a chart, right? So we will wind up the session now. Okay. Yeah. Good night then. Take care. All the best.